On today's wrestling news, major changes to the WrestleMania 37 card.
A huge YouTube star is set to appear on SmackDown next week.
An update on Zelina Vega's future.
And which AAA star could be about to become All Elite.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, my name is Phil Chambers and I'm joined by Gareth Morgan. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what you think of all of today's stories, and links are in the description below. Click on the little timestamps and away you go. But first up, Fastlane's out of the way, so WWE went nuts making matches for WrestleMania on SmackDown last night. So I guess the biggest one of this is obviously the Edge and Roman Reigns situation. This was a major, episode-long story on SmackDown. Basically, Daniel Bryan wanted a rematch with Roman Reigns, but Edge said he didn't deserve it. And then Bryan was like, okay, well, let's have two matches at WrestleMania, one on each night. First night, Edge versus Roman Reigns. Second night, Daniel Bryan versus whoever wins the first match. And Roman Reigns said, nope, I'm only wrestling once on that card. And eventually it all boiled down to the main event angle, where Adam Pearce made it a triple threat match officially. So it is going to be Edge versus Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Edge wasn't too happy with it, hit everyone with chairs, but that is the match going forward. We've finally set that in motion and we now know what we're going to get. But elsewhere, with much less build and pomp and circumstance, Big E versus Apollo Crews was announced before a match that they had that was Apollo Crews and the Alpha Academy going up against Big E and the Street Profits, which Apollo Crews won. Don't know why they had just announced the match at the beginning of that and didn't do some kind of angle leading to it, but whatever, we're getting that again at WrestleMania. And there is another one that we will get to soon because it ties into something else. So the WrestleMania card in itself is shaping up. There are still rumoured matches to be added at some point down the line, possibly. We've got rumours of Sheamus versus Matt Riddle for the US title. We've got rumours of Lana and Naomi versus Tamina and Natalya versus the Riot Squad versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the Women's Tag Team Championships. We've got rumours of the Street Profits versus Otis and Gable versus the Mysterios versus the Dirty Dogs for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships that might get added at some point. Still some big names missing off the card, notably Bayley and Charlotte Flair, but also like Jeff Hardy and people like that have absolutely nothing to do for some reason. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. And there's still no word on any kind of Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royals or anything like that. So we're getting 11 matches in total so far. One of the matches, Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon, is expected to get a stipulation added to it at some point, but also hasn't been set to a night, so I guess we'll find out when that happens. So yeah, night one is the WWE title match between Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley with the Hurt Business banned from ringside. Then we've got the SmackDown Women's title match, Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, that they finally set in motion properly on SmackDown last night with a proper heel turn from Sasha Banks. We've got The Miz going up against Bad Bunny, which could have John Morrison and Damian Priest added to it at some point, depending on their injury statuses. And then we've got Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, and that is also happening on night one. So night two is going to be the triple threat match for the Universal Championship, Daniel Bryan versus Edge versus Roman Reigns. We're also going to have Rhea Ripley versus Asuka for the Raw Women's title. We're going to have the Raw Tag Team titles in a match of the New Day versus Omos and AJ Styles, which I do think is going to be a lot of good fun. And we're also getting the Intercontinental title match between Apollo Crews and Big E. And we're also getting Randy Orton versus The Fiend in whatever that ends up being. That is also going to be on night two. So there is one match that is also going to be on night one that is missing from that, and Gareth's going to tell you all about it.
I am. That was, wow. WrestleMania's got a lot going on right now, isn't it? It's almost like they should stick to this two-night format going forward. But yeah, that's an argument for another day. But yeah, the other huge match that was announced on SmackDown last night was, of course, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. It's like, I don't care about like how we're getting there and all the rest of it. We'll go into that very quickly right now. But just for a moment, just breathe that in. We're getting that match at WrestleMania. It's just, yeah, it's what dreams are made of, guys. We did it. We made it. But yeah, we are going to have to go into a bit more detail as to how this came about, because Kevin Owens had an episode of the KO show. He was like, I want to speak to Sami Zayn. Obviously, I got kicked in the face last week. I need to know what's going on with this whole thing, and I've got a question I need to ask him. So Sami Zayn, being just the absolute brilliant piece of crap that he's been over the last couple of weeks, came down to the ring, strutting his stuff, and he was like, I've got huge news, Kevin, right? We've got our stuff going on, but this is bigger than that, because none other than Logan Paul will be turning up on next week's SmackDown for I think it's the premiere of the trailer for the documentary, these big conspiracy documentary. It's just been gripping the hearts of the nation, Phil, and it's the thing that we've been wanting to see it for weeks. We were clamoring for it before it became official, so I think that's what happened there is they listened to the SmackDown review and went, you know what, if they want it, everyone else is going to want it, so we got to do it. So they've done it, and that's going to be mad in and of itself. That is just going to be a nutty thing. If Logan Paul does actually appear in the flesh and turns up on SmackDown, it's not just a Zoom call. Either way, it's still going to be pretty mad. Like, this all came on the back of Sami Zayn and Logan Paul going back and forth, on Twitter over I think Sami Zayn said something like his documentary is going to go and do Logan Paul numbers, and Logan Paul was he obviously pricked his ears up. It was his name, so then it's just kind of snowballed. Sami Zayn just keeps name dropping him on SmackDown every time he turns up. So that's a thing now. That's happening. And then Kevin Owens just kind of went, I don't care about that. Kevin Owens felt like me in this situation. He just went, I don't care about that. Me and you, we're going to fight at WrestleMania, and it became official. And as you can tell, I'm doing backflips. I'm over the moon. I cannot wait for this match. But the Logan Paul stuff, if you're into that kind of thing, great. I'm sure it's going to do great numbers for SmackDown and all the rest of it, but just give me that Owens-Zayn goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. I did love how much Kevin Owens completely no-sold the Logan Paul link to this and just was like, nope, don't care about that. Just going to focus on this. I want this match. So yeah, that's going to be really good fun. It's like the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. You've got Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins versus Cesaro on the same night. Daniel Bryan's in the main event. What more can you want? But yeah, WrestleMania is shaping up. Finally, now that Fastlane's out of the way, almost like that pay-per-view is a hugely bad idea because it just gets in the way of the entire build to your biggest show of the year that's in 2 weeks now. It's mental. But yeah, finally starting to take shape. But moving on, away from WrestleMania for a second, we have an update on Zelina Vega's future. Obviously, she was released from WWE, now going by her real name, Thea Trinidad. There's been a lot of speculation about where she's going to end up. The speculation about her going to AEW, perhaps relinking with Andrade or something down the line. But the Wrestling Observer is now reporting that she has signed to work somewhere that isn't AEW. But there's no word yet on exactly where it is or even if it's a wrestling promotion. But what we do know is that it won't allow her to work for any other promotion. And that it's definitely not AEW. Those are the two key points from this. Apparently it's only a short-term contract, so the door isn't closed fully for like a future in AEW or wherever. But yeah, no idea if it's even wrestling that she's going into. She has posted on Instagram a couple of times about maybe doing some like acting or something like that. She said she put up a picture of her flying somewhere and had like the little clapperboard emoji thing on it. So who knows, really? But keeping it a secret for now, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I think this is just a massive testament to just how talented and just multifaceted Tia Trinidad is. Like, she's got that many different outlets she can go into outside of wrestling. It could very well be wrestling. Like, we're not saying it's not, but the fact that it is so up in the air and you can actually go, oh no, she could probably do this actually. Oh, she could probably do that. It just shows like how much of a missed opportunity she was in WWE. They could have done so much with her. Like, she's just a package of talent. And hopefully whatever she does now going forward, whether she does maybe link up with Andrade, like in a different promotion, maybe at some point. I know we're all like secretly dreaming that does happen because that, again, so much untapped potential in that little unit. So that could happen maybe, but yeah, we'll have to just keep an eye on it. She's keeping us all on our toes and keeping us all guessing, which is what you should do in the world of wrestling. That's good promotion. But speaking of like the futures, let's say, of talent outside of like WWE and technically AEW at this point, we're going to talk a little bit about Daga, who is the current AAA Latin American champion. And apparently, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, he has been in talks with AEW. So there are like hints right now, rumors going around that he could be joining the promotion sooner rather than later, but there's no word on when that could debut right now because he is still officially signed to AAA. But obviously, if you know Daga, like he previously worked in Lucha Underground. He had a decent run in Impact as well. And that was like, I think he left in October after spending a long time off in 2020, obviously due to the current situation and all the rest of it. It was quite hard to travel. And he's obviously married to Tessa Blanchard as well, which is that's always going to tie into this kind of narrative. And in terms of Tessa as well, if Daga was to go to AEW, but people are obviously thinking, oh my god, that means that she'll go there as well, and that's exactly what happens because the world is just that simple. Well, it might not be because apparently she's still being viewed as like a great get, like if she is like available and they can get her in. But any like official decision when it comes to her joining AEW it's going to be made on the back of whether there's more pros or cons with her coming. Like me and Adam Wilborn spoke about this in a podcast the other day, which is up now on WhatCulture. Go and check that out. And we were talking about the fact that she is an unbelievable talent, and any promotion in the world would be lucky to have her. But there's a lot of stuff that comes with her, a lot of baggage, and like just it's whether it's worth it. It's whether AEW feel like she's worth having in that women's division right now, which seems to be getting better by the week, I might add. Ty Conti had a brilliant showing on Dynamite this week as well. Just a little tip of the cap there. So a lot of news of potential All Elite signings going forward. We'll have to just keep an eye on it. Nothing's been officially confirmed as of this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Awkward situation with the Tessa Blanchard stuff, but Daga's got a lot of upside. He's a very talented dude, so we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But yeah, let's move on to your Twitter questions. The first one, if you want to ask us any questions, you can do it on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE, or you can send them to us at PhilMyChambers or at GMorgan04. But the first one comes from Nikki Sturzu, who says, "Hello Legends, quick question. What is your favourite ladder match that was not on a pay-per-view?"
Ooh, that's a little twist there at the end, not on the pay-per-view, because many spring to mind there. The obvious ones, it's got to be the obvious one, the Undertaker, Jeff Hardy, WWE Championship match on Raw. I always forget what year it was now. 2003, maybe? 2003, I'm thinking. So a big coming out party for Jeff Hardy, like a star-making performance and all the rest of it. But then another pick for myself would probably be the like the rerun of the Money in the Bank, the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match on SmackDown as well, because I really enjoyed that, and it had a lot of retconning to do after what happened on the pay-per-view itself, and I thought it really delivered. So I was a big fan of that match. So either or, those two.
Fair, yeah, I think we all have Jeff Hardy and the Undertaker in our minds when we think of ladder matches that aren't on pay-per-view. But personally, mine would be Mankind versus The Rock in February of 1999. It came off the back of their insane match at the Royal Rumble where The Rock just tried to murder Mankind. And it just was in an era where I was utterly obsessed with Mankind and just wanted him to win absolutely everything, and he was getting screwed out of it all, and the Big Show came in at the end and like chokeslammed him off the top of a ladder when he had Rock in the mandible claw at the top of the ladder and he was gonna bloody win it. God damn it, Big Show. I never forgave the Big Show. And so yeah, it's just an era of me just desperately wanting Mankind to get everything he ever deserves. And yeah, just him being shaken down, so it just always sticks in my memory. Next question comes from James, aka Chunk, who says, assuming we do get Edge, Bryan, Reigns triple threat at WrestleMania for the title, which I guess is definitely happening now, do you see Daniel Bryan pinning Edge for the title so Roman can claim he was never pinned and thus go on an absolute rampage and perhaps win Money in the Bank?
It was a weird one, this, because I felt like there was a bit of foreshadowing going down on SmackDown where Edge was talking to Reigns and saying, oh, well, technically I could pin Bryan and win the title and you would... So like the reverse was teased. So I feel like they've maybe done that as a way of potentially swerving us. You never know. I mean, WWE are not against sending audiences home unhappy, let's say, in this world. So obviously a lot of us would love to see Daniel Bryan lift that title at the end of WrestleMania, but I think... I don't know, it seems a bit too clean and easy for me. I think Roman Reigns has just got too many weapons in his arsenal. Do you know what I mean? Too many tricks up his sleeve, right? I can't see him walking out of WrestleMania without that title. I just can't. I just don't. Even though I'd love, like you said, I'd love to see him just go on a rampage and wreck everyone at the Money in the Bank, and just, I think a Roman Reigns on the hunt for the title, this version of Reigns, we've not seen a lot of it. Let's be honest, we've seen like a week of it, really, and that was pretty good. But I think he just works so well. He's the big bad boss, and then the person who does eventually like take that title from him, becomes a superstar overnight. So Daniel Bryan doesn't necessarily need that. Edge doesn't necessarily need that. I think he saved that for somebody who, could massively benefit from it more so than those two.
Yeah, it's a really tricky one, this one, because from the very beginning of this Edge versus Roman Reigns thing, I wanted Roman Reigns to be the one standing tall at the end of it and the one to just destroy this huge dream comeback of Edge, of like winning the Royal Rumble and going on to main event WrestleMania and winning the title. But now that Edge has kind of turned, that kind of sullies the waters a little bit with it, and Daniel Bryan's now involved in it, and you've got to think that this is the first show in over a year with fans. Will Vince McMahon just want that final image of night 2 of WrestleMania, the actual main event of the weekend, to be a good guy holding the belt up in the air with the crowd going mad with yes chants? Like, just seems like a really nice thing, and you can't get that reaction with Edge anymore because you've turned him heel. So it kind of.
Well, there you go. But do you think Roman Reigns gets booed if he wins? That's a big question.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think they're probably in for some surprises when they finally do actually realise what crowds are actually going to cheer for, and not just the booed up laugh button that they've got in the production track. It's going to
just
be
as a little side note, I felt very sorry for Roman Reigns getting Thunderdomed, you tapped out by the people in the truck last night. That was rude. That was just straight up rude. I felt for the guy.
Uncalled for. The final question of the day comes from Heath Davis, who says, if you had to book tag teams with current wrestlers in any promotion and a legend of the business, who would you pair together? Give me Bret Hart and Kenny Omega all day long.
I feel like we've had a similar question to this in the past, so I don't know if it was just like a one-on-one match. That is a toughie. Weirdly, just as like if the mixed match challenge was a thing and it was a lot better promoted and people cared about it more, I would have had just the absolute dream of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Becky Lynch. Just imagine the pop if they. I don't care about the match. The match will be fine. But
if we're going with full-on fantasy booking and you're going with Becky Lynch and Stone Cold, let's put on the other side of that ring, Britt Baker and Mick Foley.
Boom! Yeah, and just have it in an unsanctioned lights out match. I'm there.
Blood take my money
everywhere. It'd be great. There we go. We're never getting that, Phil, though. So
that's a dreaming.
It's a heartbreaker.
Kind of want it now, though. But anyway, we can't have that, so let's move on. Thank you very much for watching. If you want, you can follow us on Twitter, like I said, at WhatCulture WWE, or you can follow me at Phil My Chambers, or you can follow Gareth
at gmorgan04.
Make sure you head over to youtube.com/kayfabe news and subscribe to that channel for all your incredible wrestling content, because we've got a brand new story up there. It's kind of a sad one because on this day, Edge sees poorly. Sad story.
I didn't see that coming.
So go check that out. Subscribe to the channel, like I said. Comment down below what you think of all of today's stories, including the future current tag teams that you would want to put together. And yeah, most importantly, have yourselves a bloody good day.
See you later.
Bye.